Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Community Development Scrutiny Committee. My name is Councillor Diana Garrett and I'm the chairman. Members, please can I remind you that this meeting is being webcast. There is no fire alarm test this evening. Should the fire alarm sound, members, we will vacate the chamber via the fire exit to the rear and assemble in the car park. As we move through the meeting, please can I remind everyone present to turn off their microphones when they've finished speaking. And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our new scrutiny officer, Amanda Lindsell, who will be assisting me this evening. Welcome, Amanda. I shall now proceed with the business of the meeting. So, agenda item 1, apologies for absence. I have apologies received from Councillor Mrs Michelle Weeks. No further apologies, I believe. Thank you.
Could I just mention the typo? I'm doing it tongue-in-cheek. My name is Sue, whoever L is.
Oh, right. Okay. Just the initial on the name there for Mrs Wilson, Councillor Mrs Wilson. Thank you. I will move to agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Do members have any disclosable pecuniary interest, other pecuniary interest or non-pecuniary interest that they wish to declare this evening? Please state the item and the nature of your interest. No? No one at all? Thank you very much. Then I will proceed to agenda item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. Please can I have a proposer to approve the minutes as an accurate record of the previous meeting of the Community Development Scrutiny Committee on the 19th of October 2022. Could I have a proposal? Thank you, Councillor Bob Wright. And could I have a seconder, please? Could I have a seconder, please, for the...
Chairman, any member can second the minutes. They don't factor in attendance at the last meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Mrs Wilson, thank you very much. The minutes have been moved and seconded as an accurate record. All those in favour, please indicate. Everyone, thank you very much. The minutes are approved. I will therefore just sign those briefly. Won't be a moment. Thank you very much, Amanda. Agenda item 4, public question time. Members, I can confirm that there are no registered speakers for this evening's meeting, and therefore I will move to proceed to agenda item 5, our scrutiny review into markets and associated events within the Braintree district. Members, before us this evening is our final draft report for the scrutiny review into markets and associated events within the Braintree district. Members, you have seen and been invited to comment on the previous drafts, and the final draft was circulated to members on the 1st of February 2023. This evening we are reviewing the final draft and approving it for submission to the Cabinet, who will provide a response to our recommendations. At this stage, we should not be looking to add any further content to the report, but if anyone is concerned with how anything is expressed within the report, please can you look to make revisions there. Members, do you have any comments, please?
No,
Councillor Wright.
No comments really. I just thought I'd say that it's quite comprehensive, and I think everything that's in there needs to be in there, and I can't think of anything else to go.
Lovely, thank you very much. Councillor Mrs Pally, are you happy with the report?
Yes, we went through this the other evening, when there was just you and I here, and I have to agree with it. I do have to agree with what you have here, and I know it's not before us, but once again, I will reiterate, the market is dying on a Wednesday. Looked again today, less and less stalls. And I just have to alert you to it, because I don't want somebody to say, nobody told us. Yes. Thank you.
I do understand that there is a jobs fair coming up at the Plaza, and I have inquired with officers if we will have a stall to try and promote to potentially younger market traders or new market traders, and they have confirmed that they are preparing that. So that's a really good proactive response, I think, to our report. Has anybody else got any comments at all? No?
I'm reading it now.
Okay.
I think, but I agree with Councillor Pell. I think it's markets are. I agree with Councillor Pell. I think markets are a thing of the past at the moment. I really do. We have one in Coggeshall. We've had one for ever and ever and ever in Coggeshall, and it gets smaller and it gets bigger, and it's very small at the moment.
I'm surprised, given the cost of living crisis. I would think that people would look to markets more. Certainly in the north of the district where I live, the market is very, very busy, particularly on Saturday.
Madam Chairman, I think that what we need to do is to look at our terms of reference on what stipulations you're putting on those market traders there now.
Thank you, Councillor Mrs Pell. Councillor Hensman.
The only thing I would add is the as a thing of the past, you'd always look forward to your local market coming because there were special things you could get, and it was only on that day, so you always knew that night you'd have something special. But from what I can see, there's everything that the market stalls are selling you can get in the regular shops at any time anyway. So in a way, why support a trader when you know that I'm not saying for a minute that the traders are dodgy or the supply chain is dodgy, because we do have things in place, but when you go through the regular supermarkets, you know the supply chain, and you know what you're going to get, and the guarantee is there, if you like, and even if something does go wrong, you've got the backup. But sometimes a stall's there one minute, not the next. Sometimes they'll go to a different town because they get better custom. So and the only other thing I've seen is that some places like Colchester, or I think it's Newmarket, they have stalls that are actually branded, where we just have any old thing thrown up that the traders bring. They just bring their sort of sheets and top ovens and so on.
Yeah.
It's trying to make it special is where I'm going, to try and get people drawn, because it's really looking forward to it, really need to want to get some more of that, or, you know.
Thank you. Well, I think our communications team have put out some excellent messages on social media in particular to encourage our pop-up stalls that we provide. I wouldn't necessarily agree that it's guaranteed that supermarkets provide things that are fresh, because currently they're not putting a lot of dates. They're actually using a code instead of a best before date on a lot of their fresh fruit and vegetables, which I've found. And I've found that when I go to the market, I can see what I'm buying, and it's quite nice. So actually, I would encourage people to use their markets, at their local market, in particular in Braintree, because I think it's really nice to have, and I wouldn't like to see it. It's a case of use it or lose it to residents, really. Councillor Cosina.
Yes, in terms of the entire draft, I fully support the content, but for recommendation number 10, where we have to run a biannual customer satisfaction survey. So if it's biannual, I'm reading it twice a year, or how many times a year, to get a survey to understand what's impacting the customers and impacting the traders. I think biannual is just too long. Quarterly, we think it's that far. So, you could correct me if biannual is once a year or twice a year.
Chairman, if you a recommendation goes
biannually, I thought we took that out.
Periodic review.
Periodic review, yes.
Yeah, Chairman, if this committee makes a recommendation for quarterly reviews, it will be rejected because it's such a resource-intensive thing to do. Plus, you know, if reviews are carried so frequently, then all what are you reviewing? You're in a perpetual state of review. Yeah. So, Cabinet, this is your recommendations to Cabinet. You're not specifying a period because the evidence that you had wasn't so strong that you could say that this was definitely required. But what this committee felt through its evidence gathering is that there must be a review, and it should, and it needs to be more than just a one-off matter. It gives the direction of how you feel these reviews should be carried out. So Cabinet would have regard to that in its recommendation. But I think if you put too close a frequency, then it will be rejected out of hand because it will just be too intensive, not cost effective, and it won't actually produce the information that you're seeking.
I think I agree. Oh, Councillor
Emma,
Casino?
please correct me. Are we talking about the customer satisfaction survey review?
Councillor Casino, I wrote this recommendation myself, so a customer satisfaction survey, yes, but before we or start working on a strategy for the markets. Yeah. So it's part and parcel of that, and then for officers really to decide how often that review would need to take place once the strategy has been written. Okay. Because it is such a costly exercise, it's not something that we could do frequently, and certainly not at this time with the other costs that we have at the moment and the current crisis that we have looming, current cost of living crisis we have looming over us. So I'm hoping that something fruitful will come out of that strategy eventually, and we can do something to improve our markets.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, members. I would like you. Can I agree? Can I say that we now accept this report? And could you please indicate your agreement by a show of hands? Thank you. Thank you, members. I believe that is now accepted. Members, there is no urgent business. This item concludes our business for this evening. I will therefore close the meeting of the Community Development Scrutiny Committee at 19:26. Thank you, members, for your attendance this evening, and to those watching the broadcast via the Council's YouTube channel. And good night, everyone.